Welcome to the Here's My Story channel. I'm Lucy. My dad was about to toss a coin he was holding in his hand. He turned to my sister and me. "All right, young ladies, tell me, heads or tails?" My sister Violet said with her usual brattiness. "Why do we need to toss a coin? I want that room. Don't you love me?" My mom couldn't stand seeing her favorite daughter sad. "Honey, how can you say that? Of course we love you. We love you so much," she said as she turned to look at me. "Lucy, why don't you accommodate your little sister? Let her have the room she wants." Actually, Violet is only 3 years younger than me, but my mom always acts like she's the princess of the castle. She always favors her like she's doing right now. First off, I need to explain why my dad was tossing that coin. My dad inherited a house from his grandmother. My parents decided to move into this new house to get out of paying rent. The house is big enough for both Violet and I to have our own rooms. But while one of the rooms has a lake view, the other one faces a high garden wall. The room with the nice view is quite large and gets a lot of sunlight. The other room is dark, small, and smells like mold. My sister wanted the room with the view. I disagreed, of course. My dad said, "Let's do a coin toss. The winner takes the room with the view," suggesting a fair solution. As you have just witnessed, Violet opposed this coin toss method for picking rooms, and my mom stood by her daughter as usual. Thankfully, my dad is not like my mom. He doesn't play favorites between his daughters. "Violet, don't be like that. We will toss this coin and whoever wins will take the room with the view," he said, and looked at me. "Heads or tails?" "Tails," I replied. My dad said, "Then it's heads for Violet." He then proceeded to toss the coin up in the air. The coin flipped and dropped between Violet and me. I looked at the coin and screamed with joy. "Tails!" My sister said, "I was actually going to call tails. You tricked me!" and began sobbing. Violet cried crocodile tears for a long time to try to get the room. My mom pressured me by saying, "Lucy, please don't make your sister cry anymore. You're the big sister. Act like it." Violet wasn't about to calm down, so I couldn't take it any longer. Even though I had won the other room fair and square, I moved into that small, dark, and smelly room. In the following days, I directed all my rage to the room itself. I hated it because this whole thing was unfair to me, and it was the worst room in the house. That's why I spent time in other parts of the house or went to visit my friends. My room was only for sleeping. One night, I turned off the lights and went to bed. I was about to fall asleep. There's a new girl in class. Whenever a new iPhone comes out, she goes and gets it. She had done it again. We gathered around her admiring the new iPhone. I'm using my dad's old phone. "I wish I had a phone like that," I said. I fell asleep thinking about it. I woke up with the smell of mold in my nose. No matter how much I aired the room, the stink wouldn't go away. "This damn room," I said while opening the window. When I turned around, I noticed a box on my bedside table. It was a brand new iPhone. "No way! What in the world?" I screamed. "Why did they get me an iPhone? My birthday was 5 months away." "Wait a minute. Is this one of Violet's pranks?" I said. I held the box. The packaging looked real. Still, I was cautious as I opened it. It was not a prank. It really was a brand new iPhone. I ran upstairs to ask my mom, but there was no one home. My parents had left for work. I remembered that Violet was at a sleepover at her friend's. At that moment, I realized I wasn't holding the phone in my hand anymore, but I had left the room with it. Where did this phone go? I came back to my room. The box was still there, but the phone was gone. I looked for the phone in all the places I just walked through. It was gone. Once again, I searched for it in my room and around the whole house. It was nowhere to be found. I just lost a wonderful iPhone somewhere in the house. It made no sense at all. Was I dreaming? I pinched my arm to see if it was going to hurt. Well, it did, so I was awake. But what was happening? I sat down on my bed. I put my hands over my eyes and began to cry. At the same time, I was saying to myself, "Where is the phone? I wish I never lost it. It was such a great phone, too." As I looked around to grab some tissues, I saw another box sitting in the same spot. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was another brand new iPhone. I couldn't touch it at first because I was scared. "Am I losing my mind?" I mumbled. Nervously, I opened the box again. The new phone was shiny. My fear was gone. I didn't know what was going on, but the phone I was holding in my hand was real. I turned it on immediately and started setting it up. I took out the SIM card from my old phone and inserted it into the new one. I was so excited I just had to tell someone. I video called a friend. "Bro, something weird happened," I said. I hadn't had breakfast yet. I decided to get something to eat from the kitchen. I said to my friend, "Don't freak out, but I'm going to tell you something wild." As soon as I said this, I left my room, and something incredible happened at that moment. The phone suddenly vanished from my hand. I screamed in fear. I looked incredulously at my hands first, then around me. The phone had literally disappeared. I ran back into my room in a panic. So the first phone must have vanished the same way, but I didn't realize how it had happened. I had a crazy idea. Trembling, I said, "I wish I had a brand new iPhone." Oh my God. As soon as I finished that sentence, a new phone emerged in the same spot where I'd found the previous two phones. I was so excited that I almost forgot to breathe. I had to try one more thing, but I was hesitant. Anxiously, I picked up the phone. I went out the door, holding the box. The phone vanished. Yes, it simply vanished. Even though I was expecting this to happen, I was still scared when it did. This is so wild. What is going on? So wild, I kept repeating to myself for a while. When I calmed down, I went back to my room. I looked around amazed. This room is making my wishes come true, but I can't take these things out of here. When I try, they just disappear, I said. Even though that sounded impossible, this was exactly what was happening. I didn't go to school that day. No one was home, so I was going to enjoy my wish-granting room. I started out by wishing for small things at first. I was hungry, so I said, "Wouldn't it be fantastic to have some nice pancakes?" Ta-da! Just like that, the pancakes were there. "I want some hot chocolate with them," I said. A cup of hot chocolate emerged right next to the pancake. This was the weirdest, scariest, but also the most fun thing ever. As I was having my breakfast, I continued to make wishes. "I want a MacBook Air. I want a really nice yellow backpack. I want a Nintendo Switch. I want the world's most expensive perfume." By the end of breakfast, I had a bunch of wonderful things. I screamed with glee, "Thank you, wonderful room! I'm sorry I hated you in the beginning." I had a nagging question, though. Should I tell my family about this room? I actually would love to show my room to Violet. She had manipulated the situation by crying and taken the nice room for herself. But there was something she didn't know. The room she didn't want was making all my wishes come true. I'm sure she'd be so jealous if she found out about that. Still, there was an issue with this scenario. She could manipulate her way into taking this room as well. This kind of thing was her expertise, so I didn't think I could beat her at it. After some consideration, I decided not to mention the room to Violet at all. That meant I couldn't mention it to my parents either. Ideally, I would like my dad to enjoy the benefits of having this room, but if it had to stay a secret, then even my dad couldn't know about it. The next morning when I woke up, I thought I had dreamed it all. But when I took a quick peek around, I saw all the things I had wished for. I was so happy to see it wasn't all a dream. The laptop was sitting on my desk. I looked at the iPhone on my bedside table. It was still there. There was a bottle of expensive perfume right next to it, and it smelled incredibly good. I ran into my sister Violet on the way to the bathroom. Suddenly, I had the urge to hug her. That took her by surprise. "What's going on?" she asked. "I just wanted to hug you," I said. "Okay, but why?" she asked, and I went into the bathroom without answering. She couldn't hear me anymore. "Why? Because thanks to you, I have a room that grants my every wish," I said, laughing. When I went back to my room, I had an idea. Someone could walk in while I wasn't there and see all of this. Then my secret would be out. I said, "I want everything that I wished for to disappear." And as soon as I did, everything disappeared. What was the secret about this room? Did it have to do with witchcraft? Or was it magic? Who built this room? Was there anyone else before me who used it? Had my dad's grandmother been aware of the powers of this room? How are my wishes being granted? Was the room doing all this by itself, or were these things flying in from somewhere? I mean, when I asked for an iPhone, was the iPhone leaving an Apple store and arriving in my room? These last few thoughts worried me a little because this could be considered stealing. It was better not to think about the room anymore. Instead, I should enjoy its services. I wanted pizza for breakfast. "I want a margarita from Italy's best pizzeria," I said. The second I finished my sentence, there was a steaming hot, delicious pizza in front of me. It's been 6 months since I discovered my room is making my wishes come true. No one in my family knows about it. Once, my dad said, "You're spending too much time in your room. A girl your age should be socializing. I'm worried about you." I started socializing more so as not to draw any more attention. But whenever I go out, I actually can't wait to get back to my room. I run straight to my dear magical room as soon as I can. What would you wish for if you had a room like mine? Can you give me some ideas? But remember, you can't take anything outside. And also keep in mind that the room is not very big. Once I said, I want a Ferrari, just to see what would happen. I got a miniature Ferrari that was produced as a collector's item. That means when I wish for something big, the room grants me the wish, but it also adjusts the dimensions accordingly. If you like my story, I can make another video about my room in the future. Please let me know in the comments. I don't remember my mom at all. She passed away when I was still a baby. My dad got remarried when I started primary school. My stepmother had a daughter, Emily, who was the same age as me. I remember the day I met her very clearly. I was so happy because I wasn't going to be alone at home anymore. From now on, I would have a wonderful sister I could play with. But as I got to know her, I realized that I was all wrong. Emily had a really bad personality trait. It was the first Christmas we were going to spend as a family. As soon as I woke up that morning, I ran to the Christmas tree like I always did. I was so curious to see what my dad had gotten for me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I came closer to the tree. There were a bunch of crayons under the Christmas tree, and they were all snapped in the middle. Emily was there with me. I was trying to figure out what was going on. Emily squinted and hissed at me. "They got me a board game, but you got the perfect set of crayons. No one's present can ever be better than mine, especially yours." That's how I found out what happened to my present. Dad got me a crayon set as a Christmas present because I love drawing. Emily had broken all the crayons because she was jealous. The worst part is Emily took this after her mother. My stepmother was turning a blind eye to what she was doing to me because she had the same personality. My dad, on the other hand, never took my side because he was scared to compromise his relationship with his wife. So years went by. Each year, my dad grew farther away from me. In time, Emily became my dad's favorite daughter. One day, I was browsing YouTube and I came across a video of hers. I didn't even know she had a channel. I laughed out loud when I pulled up her channel because she'd named it Princess Emily. The channel had 4 videos. I clicked on the latest uploaded video. Emily was sitting on her bed. "Welcome to Storytime with Princess Emily," she said, and began talking. "Last month, my beloved cat died. Every night he used to curl up and sleep with me in my bed. I was so depressed when I lost him. My mom dragged me all the way to Cuba to distract me from my pain. But I still can't forget him." I was listening to Emily in shock because none of this was true. Yes, she had been asking for a cat for a while, but it turned out she was allergic to cat hair. I was also pretty sure that she'd never taken a vacation abroad. Apparently, Emily was making up stories to get people's attention. The funny thing was, she actually had succeeded in getting some people's attention because she had 900 subscribers on her channel with only a few videos. One evening, I saw my stepmother, my dad, and Emily leaving the house, all of them dressed to the nines. My stepmother said, "You might not know this, but Emily started a YouTube channel. She's doing great. She has exactly 1,000 subscribers, so we're going out to dinner to celebrate." Emily looked at me condescendingly. When she saw I wasn't saying anything, she laughed and said, "Since you're not congratulating me right now, I know you're dying inside. I got 1,000 subscribers with only 4 videos. Wait till I hit 100,000 followers. I know that'll kill you. That day, we will be going out to dinner again to celebrate and leaving you home alone." After that day, Emily started acting like a celebrity at home. She expected everyone to serve her. She was even ordering everyone around. When she told her mother to make pancakes for her, my stepmother said, "Right away, my princess," and did whatever she asked her to do. One morning, I woke up to Emily crying. I looked through her door. Her mother was hugging her. Emily said in tears, "They have to give me my subscribers back. They're mine." Soon enough, I found out what was up. Emily had bought those 1,000 subscribers from a website for $100. They were all fake users. When YouTube realized this, they shut down Emily's channel. Emily was obsessed with becoming famous. She decided to try her luck on TikTok. How did I find out about that? Because my dad bought a bunch of video equipment and set up a small studio in the living room for his precious little daughter. I wasn't paying attention because I didn't really care. But a friend sent me one of Emily's TikToks and said, "Isn't this your stepsister?" Don't get me wrong, but her videos are pathetic. Emily did a video thinking that it was funny, but it came off as sad rather than entertaining. Apparently this time she hadn't bought any fake subscribers because she only had 2 followers. And you don't have to be a genius to guess who they were. Every weekend, my dad, my stepmother, and Emily would leave early in the morning and come home late in the evening. What are they up to? I wondered, as I checked out Emily's TikTok account. After watching a few videos, I figured out what was happening. They were taking Emily to different spots in the city so she could shoot her videos. Once they went to an old prison. Emily was screaming behind bars, "Get me out of here!" It was truly cringeworthy. That evening, my dad came to my room. "Haley, why don't you follow your sister on TikTok? You should support her instead of resenting her efforts." "Dad, I'm obviously not jealous of her. Emily doesn't have what it takes." "How can you not see that?" I replied. My dad got upset. "You're the one who doesn't have it. Emily will be a celebrity soon. She just needs some support for now. I'm proud of her, and I'm ashamed to have a daughter like you who has no talent whatsoever," he said, banging the door behind him as he left. My dad's words really hurt me. I began crying. I knew he didn't care for me as much as Emily, but it truly hurt to see it so clearly. I called up a friend because I needed to vent and told her what happened. "Girl, your own dad thinks he knows you, but he's wrong. You're the most fun person I've ever met." After I hung up the phone, I felt great. I wanted to make my dad regret saying I had no talent. I started thinking. Then I had a brilliant idea. I made myself a TikTok account. I called it 100 languages. Then I went on Google and searched for how to say "leave me alone" in 100 languages. I stayed up until the morning to learn how to say the phrase "leave me alone" in 100 different languages. Then I got in front of the camera. I sang a rap that was composed of different versions of "leave me alone" in all those languages and uploaded the video to TikTok before I went to bed. The next morning, I woke up to find my stepmother nudging me. Emily was with her. My stepmother began speaking in her pretentious tone. "Good morning, honey. Congratulations. You've managed to make it on TikTok's For You page? Did you have to pay for it? In any case, somehow you got 20,000 followers on TikTok. You want to support your sister, right? You should do a video with Emily and promote her account." I jumped from my bed without saying a word. I opened my TikTok. My video had 120,000 views, and I had gotten 23,000 followers with that one video. I began jumping for joy. Emily was watching me, her eyes green with envy. "But this is not fair. I tried so hard. You were just lucky by making it to the For You page. I deserve to be famous too. Do a video with me. I'm the one who deserves all those followers," she said, and started sobbing. In the next few days, I did new videos in the same style. My How to Say Cringe in 100 Languages song got 3 million views. When I hit 1 million followers, my dad called me from school. "Honey, congratulations! I can't believe it, 1 million followers. Wow, we need to celebrate this. Let's go out to dinner tonight," he said. My dad had never said anything about my TikTok videos until that day. It wasn't like him to call and congratulate me. I knew exactly what he wanted, but I wanted to hear it from him. And also, I had some things to say. We went to a nice restaurant that evening. The waiter who was taking care of us recognized me immediately. He even sang a bar from my How to Say Cringe in 100 Languages song. Then customers began to line up at our table. They all wanted to get selfies with me. Emily and her mother were watching enviously. After we ordered our food, my dad cut to the chase. "Honey, you're a real TikTok star now. I'm proud of you. As you know, Emily has a TikTok account too, but she hasn't had much luck until now. Your mom and Emily tell me they've asked you several times, but you didn't give them a definitive answer. I wanted to personally ask you, will you do a video with Emily and help her gain followers?" My food arrived. I cut a slice of my steak and popped it into my mouth. As I was chewing my steak, my stepmother and Emily were watching me impatiently. "No," I said coldly. My dad wasn't expecting this. "What? What do you mean, no?" he yelled. Diners occupying other tables turned to look at us. Dad, you might be just remembering that you have a daughter, but I've already forgotten that I had a dad. The reason we're here is not my success. You took me out to dinner to sweet-talk me into helping Emily. You think I don't see that? I made these videos because you told me I had no talent. So you see, I do have it, I said. Suddenly, there was an uproar of applause from the tables around us. I had gotten carried away and raised my voice so everyone heard me and figured out what was going on. Now they were clapping to support me. When Emily said, "Yes, you do lack talent. You just got lucky," the customers booed her. People had stopped eating to watch us. I turned to my stepsister. "Emily, you've been jealous of me all your life. There was no reason for you to actually be jealous of me back then. But now that you have this wonderful reason, knock yourself out." People started clapping again. Emily didn't know what to say and started crying. My dad was red in the face. "Haley, you don't deserve this family. I have only one daughter and that's Emily. I'm disowning you," he screamed in my face. Another loud boo erupted from the surrounding tables. I got up. I said to the waiter, "This steak was delicious. Could you call me a cab? Since I've just been disowned, I can go live in my own house." I was making good money thanks to TikTok for quite some time. I bought myself a nice house in a nice neighborhood. I was looking forward to moving into my new place, and the things my dad said that night made it easier for me to leave. I began my new life in my own house. I was painting my stepsister's fingernails when she suddenly sneezed violently. Her hand moved and the nail polish smudged. "Hey, be careful!" she screamed. "It happened because you sneezed. I'll clean it right away," I replied. My stepsister said, "You always have an excuse, don't you? You never own up to your mistakes." "Whatever. Just keep painting. Emily's party is at 7. I don't want to be late." I was surprised. I didn't know she was getting ready for that party. "So you're going too? Emily invited me as well. We can go together," I said. Right then, my stepmother entered the room. "You're not going anywhere. You need to iron the clothes. Plus, when do you think you can make plans without asking me first? Your priority is keeping this house in order," she said sternly. As you can see, I'm the Cinderella of the house. But that night, I didn't get a visit from a fairy godmother who transforms mice into horses and a pumpkin into a carriage. So I never made it to my friend's birthday party either. I spent all night ironing my stepmother's and stepsister's clothes. I was so tired from working around the house all day that as soon as I got into bed, I burst into tears. Actually, my life wasn't too different from Cinderella's. I, too, had lost my mom. I missed her a lot. My dad remarried shortly after my mom's passing. I knew my stepmother didn't like me, but she treated me all right, fearing backlash from my dad. But when I lost him last year, my life turned into a complete mess. My dad owned a rent-a-car company. My stepmother and I inherited it. I was not yet 18, which meant my stepmother as my legal guardian would keep my share of the income. Normally, she would have kicked me out, but she let me live with them because of the extra money she was getting, thanks to me. In return for her favor, she made me her housemaid. Cleaning, laundry, ironing, cooking. I was supposed to do them all. She didn't even let me eat with them. "Who will serve the food if you sit and eat with us? You can have your dinner after we're done," she would say. I had to do all this because I didn't have anywhere else to go. One day while I was at school, the bell rang and they let all the students out into the garden. The principal and the teachers were all crying. While trying to understand what was happening, we stole fearful glances at one another. The principal went up on the stage to explain the situation. "Children, there has been a terrible incident. The royal family's yacht had an accident while returning from the Philippines. Unfortunately, there are no survivors. Luckily, our queen wasn't on the trip since she wasn't feeling well. We are grateful that she is still alive. However, we are devastated to report that all 76 royal family members lost their lives. A day of national mourning was announced. Please, everyone, go home. There will be no classes today," he said. We live on an island called Ortacha. We're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. The Philippines is our closest neighbor, and we are very close with them. The royal family members were there for the King of the Philippines' birthday reception. The accident happened when they got in a storm on the way back. We were so happy that she hadn't gone on that trip because everyone loved her. A few days later, there was a massive funeral for the royal family members. Everyone was there, including me. The queen gave a speech. My loving people, this unexpected accident has affected me most deeply. I lost all members of my family, and I am the only one left. This brings me immense sorrow, but my priority is always my country, so I need to tell you about a problem that we're facing right now. The Queen paused for a while. After wiping off her tears, she continued. I am 70 years old. My daughter was supposed to succeed me, but she is gone, as is everyone else. I have no heirs left. One has to have royal blood to become the queen. Now I will reveal a secret. My brother had a daughter born outside of his marriage. This was an embarrassing scandal for our family. We had to hide it from you, and I apologize for it. But now we need to find my brother's daughter, my niece, for our country's future. We have no information as to who she could be. She should be around 40 years old now. All I know is that my brother told her, I have to abandon you, but you will remain my daughter forever, and gave her his own royal seal. The Queen's words shocked the crowd. Everyone was asking each other the same questions. Do you know anyone like that? Who could it be? We need to find her. What if we can't? As the Queen started to speak again, everyone went quiet. She made a plea to her future heir with tears in her eyes. My dear niece, please forgive us for abandoning you. You had done nothing wrong. My brother wanted you to grow up in the court, but I opposed it. Please accept my apologies. Your country needs you. Please come forward. Come to the palace with the royal seal so that we'll know you're the one we've been looking for, she said. The public was shocked. As I walked home after the ceremony, there were people at every corner. Women, men, old people, kids. This was all anyone could talk about. Naturally, everyone was curious about who the future queen might be. I found my stepmother and her daughter in my room when I came home. They'd emptied all my drawers. They had been looking for something. What's going on in here? I asked. My stepmother said, Tell me where the seal is. When I asked, What seal? She came closer to me, threateningly. What seal? The royal seal, of course. Your mom must have given it to you. Hand it over now, she said. The royal seal? The one the Queen was talking about? But why would my mom have that seal? I asked. Well, apparently your mom was too ashamed to tell you, so now you know. Your mom is the Queen's niece born out of wedlock, she replied. Oh my, now it all makes sense. My mom once told me, I'll tell you something when you grow up because you're too young to know it now and you might judge me. But please don't be upset at your mom when you find out, okay? Because it wasn't my fault. That's what she meant, my stepmother said with a smirk on her face. Your dad told me everything and now you know it too. Then she asked angrily, if your mother didn't give it to you, where the heck is it? I showed her my necklace. This belonged to my mom. She gave it to me when she got sick and told me never to lose it. I didn't know it was the royal seal. I thought it was a necklace. Let's go to the palace immediately and tell the Queen, I said. She ripped the necklace off my neck and held what we now know as the royal seal triumphantly. The Queen doesn't know your mom is dead. I'll tell her I'm the woman she's looking for, and she's going to believe me because I have the royal seal. She said, laughing maniacally. Her daughter couldn't stand still. Mom, when you become a queen, will I be a princess? That's so cool! She screamed. They started dancing. I watched them aghast. Then they left the room, closed the door, and locked it. My stepmother would replace my mom and even become the queen at some point. Unfortunately, there wasn't much I could do about it either. I started crying out of desperation. I must have cried myself to sleep that night. When I woke up, I heard sounds from outside the door. A man screamed, "This must be it, Your Majesty." Then I heard a key turning inside the lock. The door opened. The Queen was standing in front of me. There were royal soldiers behind her. I kneeled at once to greet her. "My sweet princess, get up and show me your beautiful face," she said. I did what I was told to do. She scrutinized my whole face. "You get your eyes, eyelashes, and hair from me," she said, smiling. Then she opened her arms wide. "Come, give me a hug. I hope you forgive me for not having met you sooner," she said. I hugged her. I mumbled, "I wish my mom was here too." She said, "I wish I could have gotten to know my niece. We've been so unfair to her," looking at me. "I need to adopt you so that you can take the throne in the future," she added. I was curious about how the truth about my stepmother and her daughter was revealed. On our way to the palace, the queen told me. When my stepmother arrived with the royal seal, the queen thought she was actually her niece. But she got suspicious when she saw her daughter, because neither of them looked like the queen or her brother. My stepmother and her daughter have blonde hair and blue eyes. I have brown hair and brown eyes, just like the queen herself. As her suspicions grew, she called the head of security and asked him to interrogate my stepmother and her daughter. After a few questions, my stepsister broke down in tears and confessed. My stepmother still stuck with her lies, but they didn't believe her. Eventually, she had to tell the truth. The queen wanted to save me when she discovered they had locked me in a room. You now know what happened when she arrived at our house with her soldiers. The following morning, the queen took me to the dungeon in the basement of the palace. Typically, they don't use that space too often, but they kept my stepmother and her daughter there until the police came to take them away. They were both exactly where they deserved to be, behind bars. When my stepmother realized I was there, she put on a fake smile and said, "Amelia, my dear daughter, how nice to see you. We came to the palace to tell them you're the one they've been looking for. Tell her we're innocent and then they can let us go." Clearly, she was lying. I was so upset, but the queen calmed me down. "Don't waste your breath. The court will have the final say. They will pay for their attempt to scam the queen." After that day, I never saw them again. I'm so busy, I don't even have time to think about them. They set up a special princess school for me. I'm learning about the rules of being a princess. I will start queen school after I graduate. I need that education for the future.